Overall, we're continuing to build out the opportunity at Kızıltepe and Tavşan, so that the two sites can operate sort of semi-simultaneously, and ultimately to ensure that we have a production rate that's maintained at around 30,000 ounces per annum going forward.
Hello, you're watching Proactive. I'm joined by Ariana Resources Managing Director, Kerem Senar. Kerem, very good to speak with you. And you're on with an update on new exploration at your Dokwe Gold Project in Zimbabwe. And it looks like it's yielding positive results.
Hello, very good to join you, Stephen. And yes, we're very pleased with the progress that's underway on the Dokwe project. Earlier on in the year, we announced some of the work that has been underway on Dokwe North and Central, and demonstrating further resource upside across both of those opportunities, and building on the 1.8 million ounce resource that has been defined. But the work that we've announced most recently relates to broader exploration across the Dokwe Claims area, going all the way south of the Dokwe North and Central areas, towards the boundary between the greenstone units and the granitoids. And it was during the course of some of the exploration underway in the far southern part of that area, in an area that was previously named Dokwe South, in a very general sense, that we've now discovered a particular prospect, Maboe, identified a vein system that's running over several hundred meters, in a slight rise within the topography, and it's right along that granite greenstone boundary region, so along the major controlling shear structure. And what was particularly important about that discovery was that we've identified that it is mineralized, lower levels of gold, but substantial concentrations of silver, very significantly anomalous. And it also builds on our understanding that some of these Dokwe mineral systems are potentially enriched in silver, and that's some aspect of prior studies that has not really been properly investigated. So that's something that we're now going to look into in further detail, because it could potentially add to the economics of the Dokwe operations in the future. And in the case of the Maboe prospect, we've identified clearly a splay off the main shear zone, and there may well be other splays that could be more gold enriched. So we get a sense of that in some of the geochemistry that's been undertaken in the soils, and we're going to further investigate those potential opportunities further towards the west.
And of course, as you move towards a feasibility study, you do have the cash in place because you announced earlier this month a $5 million financing with an initial $2 million drawdown. So you've got the cash to proceed at this stage.
That's absolutely right. And we're really pleased that we've secured that funding arrangement with Riverfort. We're now moving into the early stage feasibility work. Some of that work was already underway in part, particularly building on the announcement some months back related to a new pit optimization across Dokwe North and Central, where we identified 1.2 million ounces within the optimized pits. We're now continuing to build on that, and there'll be further drilling results relating to some of the geotechnical holes that were previously drilled at Dokwe North. We're sending some of that material off for assay, and we're planning to build on that resource estimate and ultimately announce a new reserve. And it's on the back of that new reserve that we'll be able to commence the rest of the feasibility study. But there are various aspects of the feasibility that we've been working on, as I said, in the background, getting ready to commence the formal work. But we're substantially there now, and it won't be too long before we're fully underway.
Moving away from Zimbabwe, and perhaps, Kerem, you also announced earlier this month that your partnership in Turkey is moving from strength to strength. Could you give us some details of that?
Yes, so we've obviously continued mining at Kızıltepe and processing the Kızıltepe ore through that plant, the CIL processing plant. But we're also continuing to build a new processing plant at the Tavşan mine. Tawshan is nearing the end of its construction now. We've been able to accelerate construction markedly through the course of this year. And by early next year, we will be commencing operations on the heap leach. In the meantime, we've been mining at Tawshan. We've been mining since the beginning of this year. And some of that material has been processed through the Kızıltepe processing plant. And overall, we're continuing to build out the opportunity at Kızıltepe and Tavşan, so that the two sites can operate sort of semi-simultaneously, and ultimately to ensure that we have a production rate that's maintained at around 30,000 ounces per annum going forward. So a lot of things going on across both operations. We've even got some more drilling that's planned at Tavşan, which we're hoping that we can commence in the not too distant future. Meanwhile, operations underway and continuing at Salınbaş. There's the drilling program currently underway on the Ardala area of the Salınbaş gold project. And we're looking forward to receiving some of the results of that, probably in the first quarter of next year.
And of course, we're going to be chatting more about this at the Mines and Money Resourcing Tomorrow conference next week, where you're also going to
Indeed,
chat
yes.
to some of your investors.
Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to that.
We'll see you then. Thank you very much for the update today, though.
Thank you very much, Stephen.
Ariana Resources Managing Director, Kerem Senar.